And we're live. Okay. So we are here with Pastor Terry, and we're going to be doing a thorough investigation. Just kidding. But if y'all have any questions that y'all would like to ask him, that isn't anything super deep and personal.
I don't mind.
Something appropriate.
I am an open book.
Send it through, and Miss Sharon is here with us, and she's going to be jotting those down for us, and we're going to get to that at the end of the live. So are you ready for your investigation?
Is there a polygraph connected with this investigation?
I'm not telling.
I can say anything I want to say. Okay.
Okay.
I'm ready.
So, some of the people that have gone through the growth track or been here a while may know this already, but sometimes stuff like that kind of gets forgotten. So, could you tell us your story on how you got started at Crossroads and how you ended up becoming lead pastor?
Yeah, kind of short version. Graduated high school in '83, went into the Army. Army paid for college, ended up being enlisted in the Army, ended up being a combat engineer officer in the Army, and had just got promoted to captain. And a pastor here in Lake Charles, actually Moss Bluff, called and asked us just to pray about going into full-time vocational ministry. And I had no intention of doing that because I was getting promoted actually on September 1st. That was in July before my promotion date of September 1. And 1 September. But anyway, I prayed about it, a lot of confirmations. We ended up going into full-time ministry, moving here. I was a student pastor for 6 years, and then our lead pastor went to Indiana to be an executive pastor at a big church up in Indiana. The church asked me to become their pastor. It was a beautiful transition, actually, and that pastor sent me on vacation for a couple of weeks, Sharon and I, and prepared the church for me to become their pastor, basically, and then came back, passed the mantle to us, and became pastor at Crossroads. We were about 65 people, including children back then, down the road, kind of in front of the Apostolic Church, a little building over there, and kind of built from there as far as buying this campus within the next 6 months after I became pastor, and renovating it. It was a furniture store, renovating it. Then later, after Hurricane Rita, doubling the size of the overflow building out there and finishing it out into actually be a functional building, not a warehouse. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of how we got here. As far as calling, there were just so many confirmations along the way. Really that last year in the Army, I was in Honduras. Our battalion had deployed to the first Gulf War. My unit was already headed to Honduras. We were supposed to join them for the war, but the war ended so quickly, we ended up not actually going over there and joining our battalion. But while I was in Honduras, one of my soldiers was killed down there, and so I escorted his body back to his family in North Carolina, met with his family. And actually, I was doing a lot of ministry. I wasn't a chaplain, but I was doing a lot of ministry that last year and got really close to our chaplain down there in Honduras. And he said, "Man, are you sure you don't have a call on your life for full-time ministry?" And I said, "No, I'm making captain, man, in September." Which is a big pay jump in the Army. And but the more we prayed about it, God confirmed it again and again that that's what He was calling us to do. And
that was you and Miss Sharon.
Yeah, it was through a book that's on my shelf over there. The final piece of it was a devotion I did on Labor Day of that would have been 1991, Labor Day of 1991, and I'd already told my commander. I'd just been promoted, like 5 days before that to captain, and I just told my commander I was staying in because he's going to move me into a different position in the battalion, and if I was staying in. And I had already told him that, and then over that weekend, God was really speaking to me about it. And that book, that morning, my devotion that morning was called Radical Adjustments, and it was all about Joshua following Moses in leadership and being strong and courageous and doing what God had called him to do. And I knew when I read that, that was like the final thing of okay, I know what I'm supposed to do. And Sharon read it, and we were both crying because we loved the Army. We absolutely loved what we did in the Army, and loved the community, the Brotherhood of War, and all that stuff. And but we knew for sure God was calling us, and so I cried all the way to Fort Polk the next day. And on Tuesday, told my commander, I was getting out, and so that's how we ended up in ministry. And then a lot of things along the way that led us here, actually to Crossroads, but beautiful things. We were here on day one when Crossroads started. first time we ever met, we were a part of that, and I think there were 4 couples in Crossroads right now that were founding couples, so we were one of those 4 that are here now. So pretty cool to kind of see it all the way through to where it is now.
Yeah, and to see those people still here, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So how old were you at that time?
Goodness, let's see. When I became pastor at Crossroads, that was 99, so it would have been 35, 25, 35, 35. Yeah, 35. Yeah, 35.
That sounds about right, I think. So
Yeah.
your birthday just passed, right?
Yeah.
And
yeah.
you turned
45. And so, no, I turned 59. You see all the gray hair. That's all from Crossroads, and the missing hair up here. That's all. No, I have absolutely loved ministry. I know I did what I was supposed to do. You know, after I got out of the Army, of course, in 2001 with 9/11 and all that, there was a lot of warfare, a lot that went on after I got out. And so who knows, you know, where I would have been, or if I would even, if I'd even be alive, you know, so, or married or whatever, had I stayed in. So I know for sure it was God's calling, you know, and I've loved not every bit of it, but, you know, I love ministry. I love doing what we do, you know, so.
Life is a lot better when we do it His way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I assume that you don't plan to retire at the age of 60.
Well, if my ship comes in, no. I don't know. You know, as far as are you asking the last question now? Okay.
Not the last question.
Not the last question now. Okay. Yeah. No, I don't. Yeah, it's interesting. I was talking to one of our key leaders, actually one of our founders, the other day. You know, he's Dr. Swallow. I don't think it's fine. You know, we're just talking about that. You know, man, when have you kind of done enough? When is it time to retire? And he's in the same thing in the medical profession. Like, when is it time? You know, and you know, and it's just like, I don't know. I don't have a sense yet that this is done. You know, or that you know, that retirement's soon for us. I still feel my body still feels good. My energy level is still good. I feel, you know, I think I'm still relatable and all that. So I don't know, but yeah. But if you're trying to get rid of us, just let us know. We'll figure it out. No, just
I don't think anyone else is. Okay. So the next question, and y'all don't forget, if y'all have questions, send them through. We're going to do that at the end. So the next question is, what are the most important habits that anyone in Crossroads or anyone committing their life to Christ committing their lives to Christ, do you have any opinions on how, like, they can do that best to their journey and getting closer to God and to have the most fulfillment in their lives? If you had, like, key things you would tell someone.
Yeah, I would say where you go to church at and the church family you're part of is to see that as a part of it. It's not the sum of it by any means. It's that kind of that daily conversational intimacy that you develop with God, where you're in relationship with Jesus, and you know His voice. You can follow His voice. You can receive the wisdom and counsel from heaven that He has for you. You can that perspective that gives you what's really going on in the world and in you, that gives you a sense of peace and confidence and settledness, no matter how crazy the world gets. That only comes through relationship with the Lord. That doesn't come through going to church, you know. So I think church is a big part of it, and having a family around you, so you're not doing life alone. Being in a group of friends like we do in our small groups and the ministry teams is crucial for your growth. But I'd say number one is developing your own relationship with Jesus. Let church kind of help you with that. Two, you've got to have a band of brothers, in my case, or a family around you that you're doing life with. I think that's super crucial. We're not made to go on this journey alone. And then I'd say the other is just, you know, find out what you're called to do and do it. I mean, I love doing what I love to do, what I know I was created to do. I love soldiering. I love being a leader in the Army, and I love that and was good at that. But I know this is what I'm called to do. So every person out there has something that God put them on the planet to do. And that's connected with who God says they are, their identity, and then kind of flowing from that, your activity. Like I said Sunday. I don't think I've ever said that before Sunday, and I didn't have it in my notes. It just kind of flowed out Sunday that your activity needs to flow from your identity. And that's so true. You know, that's where that needs to flow from. So anyway, I think those are like crucial factors.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So, for you, back to you, what, if you could pinpoint, what do you think makes you feel the most honored or respected, that you appreciate the most?
We've tried to institute a salute here, kind of like we had in the Army. No, I'm just kidding. Sharon, my wife is over here writing down questions that you guys are sending in, and she's just shaking her head over there. She does salute, but anyway, just kidding. Honored and respected. That's interesting. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that a whole lot. I think I've never put a lot of weight on that, I guess, or really thought. I don't think a whole lot about what other people think. But what I have noticed is people who are wanting that all the time probably aren't doing the things that are going to bring that to them. You know what I'm saying? So they're wanting to. It's almost like it's coerced, or like, you need to respect me, you need to honor me. Like, if you have to say that, then probably you're not doing the things worthy of honor and respect. So I've never really actually thought about this before. So I'm kind of thinking out loud here. But I having said that, I think my perspective is I'm going to sense honor and respect through like how, for example, on a Sunday, how is a message received and our lives actually changed by that? Is it actually making a difference? To me, that's to me that if my life is investing in others and it's making a difference in others, and I kind of see that happening in doing a Beth Shalom session or whatever, or lunch with one of our guys or whatever.
Yeah.
I see people are getting it and it's changing how they do life or how they live. To me, I think I interpret that as, okay, they're getting it, and it's not so much that I want them to respect me or honor me. It's like I have self-respect. It's like, hey, I know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. Yeah. And so I think for me it's processed less through what people say or do, and more through just, do I see an impact? Is it making a difference in their lives? And so I think it comes through that for me more. Although, we have an incredibly healthy church family and staff environment here, and leadership culture here, and so I never feel disrespected or dishonored in any way. I think we have a very open culture. I think, and you could answer this better, I guess, but as a staff, Emily's our newest and youngest staff member, and but I think you've seen that we have a very open environment where I'm always open to new ideas, and it's not like, Emily, you're only 20 something, and you've only been around here for a year. You don't, you've had some great ideas, and we entertain all of those. We're like, hey, yeah, absolutely, bring it. So it's not like, I've been here, longer than Methuselah. You need to respect me and honor me. Don't bring me your suggestions. No, we want that. And I love to have one of my commanders in the Army would always say to every new guy who came in, no matter how young he was, if he just came straight out of basic training, he would always say to him, and he meant it, he'd say, listen, you have a fresh set of eyes. You're going to see things that we don't see because we've gotten used to how things are. And I don't want you to be intimidated because I'm your captain. If you see something, I want you to come to me and tell me. And he said, so what have you noticed so far? And he would just ask, he would interview every guy that came into unit, even if he was brand new, the lowest, private E1 on the totem pole. And I learned from that always, always be open to anything anyone else says. So I never take any suggestions or even criticism as disrespect or dishonoring. And we, we've been pretty healthy there. Every now and then you might get a zinger on Facebook from somebody who doesn't go to church here or doesn't know us or know our hearts or whatever. And whatever, I don't care about that. But generally I feel honored and respected. Yeah.
So, like, throughout, not necessarily just as a pastor, but in your life, like if you're walking through something or going through something, because I'm sure Miss Sharon's good at this in trying to lift you up and honor you. So are there specific things that you would notice that she would do? I guess I can give you an example. One time Kobe was kind of things were super busy at work, so I did some of the yard work or something like that, and it's not that I can't do it or I shouldn't have to do it, but he usually just does it. So I wanted to honor and respect his time and kind of lift him up. So what are some ways that people have done that for you in the past? Like just
Yeah, there've been a few things. Like Sharon is really great at. You're in our small groups. You've seen our guest bathroom, our hall bathroom, which is usually my bathroom, and but on Wednesday nights that's the guest bathroom. And but that she always has messages on the mirror that she writes that are always very honoring and encouraging and inspiring, prayerful and. Bringing like the one now is a blessing, and so that's good. I remember one time we had a storm come through or something, and I was out. This wasn't one of the big storms; it was just a normal storm, and like not a hurricane,
enough
but
to
I was
shake up some trees.
yeah, and I was out there picking up branches and dragging branches to burn and get piled up somewhere. And I remember Robbie Howard, who's one of our founders and we were in small group together years ago, the first small group we were in as a couple. And Robbie just, I don't know if Dana called Sharon probably because they're good friends, but Robbie just shows up. I said, "Hey Robbie, what you need, man?" He goes, "Nothing. I'm just here to help you." And we started dragging stuff, and that was just so awesome. So there's been a lot of times like that where people will just help out with something, and that always is good when we have. I remember one year I had to go out of town like that afternoon, and I had a deadline at the time I had to be gone by, and but our water line was out at the house, and so I was replacing the whole water line, and Glenn Franklin, Billy Jones, a couple other guys, they came over. And we put in all how it is from our house to the highway is 300 feet. We put in, and it wasn't PEX; it was all sections of pipe, and we put in the whole water line. So there've been so many things like that over the years, big things and small things. Melanie brought us all kind of individually packaged meals yesterday. That we can eat kind of for the next couple of days, 3 days, and it's busy with the class tomorrow night, small group tonight, a lot of things going on. They're just big things and little things that people do all the time that are just encouraging and a blessing. But the biggest thing is people. I love to hear what Jesus is doing in other people, and how their lives are being changed. And so when I hear one of those stories, even if it's just a little something at the end of a message or something like that. That's why I don't line up at the back door where everybody used to, the church I was raised in, they come out, good pastor, good sermon pastor, good pastor, like whatever, and, but so I just stay at the front. But if somebody actually makes an attempt to come up to us and say, "Hey, that was really, that really impacted me, and here's why," or a couple weeks later, "You said this a couple weeks ago, this, that always puts fuel in the fire, to know that what we're doing actually makes a difference.
That's awesome. And we need that too, I feel like, because like the fresh eyes, like you said, so there could be something that they say, "I've never heard anyone say it like that before." And it's like, "Oh, we say it like that all the time,"
Yeah.
So you kind of make a point to, I need to say that more often. So, that's really awesome. And I think the big thing about people coming to help you is that, like, you don't expect it. Like, you would be fine doing it on your own, but if people want to help, it's like, oh, great.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah.
So this one's a little bit lighter question, so don't forget, if you have any other questions, send those through. We're about to get to those. But the lighter question is, what is something specific that you think you like that not a lot of people may know? And I'll give you an example. So, like, Miss Sharon's favorite fragrance from Sway is Sweet Grace, but she may just say, like, "Oh yeah, I'd love to go to Sway," but there's a bunch of stuff in there. Or like, a lot of people like chocolate, but I like dark chocolate specifically. So what's something that you think people may not know that you like specifically?
Man, I don't know, because I teach every week, and I say all kinds of stuff.
That's why you gotta think about it. Everyone knows hunting guns.
I love Buc-ee's. I wish we had a Buc-ee's. Good thing we don't have a Buc-ee's. I will probably, the next time I go, I'll be going to see my mom on Monday in Oklahoma, and she's in eastern Oklahoma, so the fastest way is to go this way. But I will probably go 45 minutes out of the way to go to Terrell, Texas. I already looked to see how long it takes. 46 minutes, actually. Longer. If I go to Terrell, Texas, and go to Buc-ee's, it takes me 46 minutes longer to get up there. I may do that. I love Buc-ee's. I don't know why.
What do you get at Buc-ee's?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Everything?
I just love Buc-ee's. It's just the experience.
Every time I go, I have like I get excited, and then sometimes I don't even get anything.
I know, and I'll always get their tea. They have good sweet tea, so I'll always get some tea for the road because I'm driving and trying to stay awake, especially on Sunday afternoon.
The
And
fountain tea.
so I always get that, and I will get some different crunchy stuff to eat while I'm driving when I start getting really sleepy, like some of their candied pecans or almonds or whatever. But but let's see. As far as stuff around here, people may not know that I really, really like. I love my I make my coffee. I like right now. My coffee is just pretty plain and blah. But how I love my coffee on Sunday mornings, my coffee is different than any other day of the week. So on Sunday mornings, my coffee is always going to be a big old giant mug, and it's going to be 13 ounces because I have to hit my machine. My machine grinds whole beans and makes the coffee. So it's going to be 6.5 ounces twice, and it's going to have whipped cream in it and cocoa in it and creamer in it. It's going to taste like a donut, and it's amazingly good coffee.
Unsweetened cocoa?
No, it's sweetened, and that's why I
Like
only
hot
have it.
cocoa.
That's why it's only on Sundays because that's too many calories to have to start your day every day. But it's too much sugar to start your day with every day. But anyway, it's so good. So I look forward to Sunday mornings. I really
Because
do.
your coffee?
Yeah, because normally it's just 8 ounces of coffee and it's just kind of plain. But it's good coffee, but it's just not. It doesn't taste like a donut, like
Do
Sunday
we
morning
think
does.
that the coffee is why you talk so fast on
No, I talk
services?
fast. I talk fast all the time. It's just how I talk, and so I really try to talk slow sometimes if I'm doing something like this. But normally I talk really fast. But I don't know why I talk so fast. I think it's because I was in a large family, and if you had to say something, you had to say it fast. But that would be my bet. They all talk fast, don't they? My whole family talks fast. So
Well, at least
That's
y'all
probably why.
you and Miss Sharon balance each other out.
yeah.
Imagine if y'all were both talking
Oh my
fast.
goodness. Yeah. Yeah. They do.
All right, we're going to do the questions that came through. Thank you very much, Miss Sharon. And is this this is the only one?
No
What?
questions. That's because you've
This
interviewed
is-
so well. We didn't need to ask any questions. See.
Or everyone's
Oh wait,
working?
I see a question. Oh wait, that's
Ah! Don't read it. This
Oh,
one's
wow.
hard.
it. That's a good one there. That's
Are you
a hard.
ready?
That's a hard one. Yep. Go ahead.
You're already 2 steps ahead. You don't even know the first step.
I already know this one.
What is it?
What's your favorite book of the Bible?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I thought that's what it
What's
said.
your favorite Bible verse?
Oh, favorite Bible verse. My verse forever has been Romans 8:28.
Thank you.
But yeah, I guess it's still my favorite. I think that Romans 8:28 became my favorite Bible verse when I was still in high school, and that's just and God works all things together for the good of those who love Him and who are called according to His purposes. And I just had a sense then. I think it came out of something kind of fatalistic though. I had a sense when I was in high school that no one. This is really horrible, but that basically no one who like I would die before anyone who loved me died. And I don't know why I had that. I don't know if that's because I was going into the army, and you kind of had to have that mindset of don't hold on to life too
Be okay
closely,
with
or
it.
you will you won't make good decisions in the field of battle and those things. I don't know, but anyway, so maybe that was part of it. But so that verse I think maybe came out of that season. So yeah, that's been my lifelong verse, and I've written that sometimes if I sign something for somebody or something like that. But yeah,
That's pretty
I'm praying about a new one. I want something more encouraging. Yeah, Isaiah. I don't know. There are a couple of ones I'm looking at. So ask me next year. I'm going to have a new one.
Okay.
Something about arise, shine, or something. I don't know. Something about the goodness of God and the light of God, or something. I want to do something. Yeah. So anyway, but Romans 8:28 historically has been my favorite verse.
Okay. This one may be easy or maybe hard because you've gone a lot of places. But what's your favorite place you've traveled?
Yeah, in the U.S., I would definitely say the mountains of Montana. There are a lot of places you can go in Montana, but the mountains, particularly in southern Montana, on the Wyoming border, there is where we tend to go. Our good friends in Red Lodge or outside of Red Lodge up there on Rock Creek, John and Holly Gott have an amazing place they've made available to us for years and years, and we just I don't know, we just feel the presence of God there so much.
Yeah.
And then of course Michael and Laurel Toucan's place up on the Platte River in Nebraska. This is probably, I'm looking at two pictures from there right now, up on my bookshelf. But yeah, I love that place. It's just such a restorative place. It's like I feel the presence of God there. And there's just something about the Platte River is a very slow moving river, and it's just a very, I don't know, it's just a still place. And I can't wait to get there, every year. And so it's not the hunting. I mean, I love the hunting, but it's not the hunting. It's just being at a peaceful place. And Sharon and I were kind of talking about this yesterday, and I said a little bit about it Sunday, just that I love to go to places where my soul can just rest and just breathe in rest, and the beauty of nature does that. So for here, I'd say Montana, and then up on the Platte River outside of Central City in Nebraska, two of my favorite places to go that are just so restorative for me. And then overseas, goodness, where we went recently, I mean, France is amazing. There's some pretty incredible places, but yeah, Wales in the Western UK and is one of the most. It's very isolated. The same thing, very peaceful. Not a lot of people, not a big population centers out there. Just dairy farms and sheep farms and beautiful hilly country that's been farmed for thousands of years, and just castles all over the place, old castles and stuff. So a lot of history there, but just such a peaceful, cool air, peaceful, beautiful place. A lot of hiking trails everywhere, and beautiful coastline, and it's not like our coast. These are big rocky cliffs and big, huge boulders down there, and waves crashing in. So totally different than our kind of coastline that we think of here. But yeah, that place is incredibly refreshing, and God's done a lot of amazing things in Wales over the years with big revivals and things. So you really can kind of feel the presence of God there also. So I love places that are peaceful and beautiful, and where I feel like it's the phrase Sharon uses a lot. It's like it's a thin place, you feel like heaven is a little closer in those spaces. And it's probably not really. It's probably that we're a little closer because we're not so busy with everything else going on. But so those are the places I love.
Just soaking in His creation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that, because it's hard to rest here, because you go anywhere and you're, even if you're just going down the road or whatever, need a break, you're like, oh, I need something from the store. Oh, I've been meaning to stop by there.
Yeah.
Okay, the next question is, what worship song is speaking to you in this season?
Man, oh gosh, we have so much
That's
good worship.
That's a really good question. I feel like I have a new song every season.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, let me think. What is? I can remember songs, but I can't always remember titles of songs. Maybe that's Sharon.
Do you know the lyric of it?
I'm not going to sing for you guys.
Don't sing it. Just say it.
Yeah, I'll tell you one. I mean, one that I always go back to. We have new songs coming in and out all the time, but one that I always go back to that always moves me is His goodness of God, and just to be reminded of how good God is. And that second verse where it says, it talks about hearing God's voice, and I think that is so crucial that we can hear. If you hear God's voice, if you know Jesus and you have a relationship with Jesus, you can have that relational intimacy with Jesus, that conversational intimacy. It's like He's good. His heart for you is good. And so I don't know, that song has just been, I learned that song like the year before COVID and the hurricanes hit, in like 2019 or so, somewhere in that I think it was that year or so. And that song has just been a rock through the last 4 years or so, especially. It's been just a song I always go back to. So yeah, so love that one. That's probably still my favorite right now. But there are others that kind of pop up every now and then that I love. I love Egypt, and anyway. There's so many good songs that we do that are phenomenal worship songs. But yeah.
Thank you for sharing that. Next question. What would you say to someone waiting on a spouse? And should someone be looking for a spouse, or?
Yeah, if you're waiting on your wife, just know that when she says she'll be ready in 5 minutes, that doesn't mean a thing. Is that what they're talking about?
No.
Oh, okay, never mind. Anyway, 5 minutes is relative to nothing on a clock. But anyway, just kidding. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, waiting on a spouse and what should they be doing? I think...
Wait, hold on. Let's pause for a second. Do we know if this is a guy or a girl?
It looks like a girl.
Yeah, I would say definitely don't rush it. And I think especially if you are especially if you're coming out of a relationship, like you've been through a bad marriage, or if you come out of a bad relationship, I think the most important thing is to know who you are, and I would say make sure you're healthy where you can offer. We're never perfect this side of heaven, but that you're healthy, that you know who you are, you know your identity, so that you can offer that person a whole person. And then the other thing I always kind of think about sometimes, and I've told our sons this, is become the person that the person you're praying for is praying for. In other words, like, if you're praying for this kind of a husband someday, then
Patient.
become the kind of woman that a praying husband, a godly husband's going to be praying for themselves. So become the godly woman in this case that God's called you to. The other I would just say is don't rush it. Don't make the mistake of I don't want to be alone, so I'm going to marry somebody, or I need financial security, so I'm going to marry somebody who makes a lot of money, or whatever. Don't rush it. Be very patient with that process. And I told both of our sons that, and they're, one's about to graduate with his first degree from college, the other's about to graduate with his doctorate, and they're not married yet, and and one's dating and one's not, and like dating a person, the same person, they've been dating for a while, and the other's not dating anyone right now, and I said, don't stress over it. When it's right, you'll know. And for Sharon and I, she was already out of college when we started dating. I had 1 year left when we started dating, and so she's way older than me, and so no, I'm just kidding. She's just 11 months older than me, but she's a lot smarter. she was a lot. She has a card that says whatever on it. She just held up.
Whatever.
Yes, and yeah. So no, she was smarter than me, but she was also a year ahead of me in school. But anyway, so I didn't want to rush anything, so I would only date. I got to know girls through group settings, not through individual settings. And so, like, I knew Sharon since 8th grade. We didn't start dating again until I was a junior in college, and she was already out of college. And so the girls that I did date in college were girls that I got to know in group settings. And so it wasn't like the pressure of this one-on-one date thing.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it the way these people do it now, where it's just something they do online or something. I don't know if I could handle it. But not so much handle it, just the wisdom of you can say anything you want to in an online survey.
Yeah.
But if you watch somebody's life over the course of time, there's so much value in that. And so, so I mean, I knew what I was praying for and what I was looking for. And basically that eliminated like 95% of the girls that in my university that I knew about anyway, and then there were so other people knew that too. I'm sorry about that. Other people knew about me and what I was looking for, and if that just conked y'all's ears, I'm sorry, and hit the microphone. But so my friends and people who knew me, they were like, oh, you really ought to date this girl. You ought to ask her, and they would kind of like introduce us and set us up, and and so I only dated like 3 or 4 girls all the way through high school and college, because I didn't want to just date to date, and so I think that's important. Don't just date to date. Don't settle. Be patient, and in the meanwhile, focus on becoming who God's called you to be and created you to be, and finding your identity and how you're supposed to be making a difference and doing the things He's called you to, and then look for that person He sends who shares in those values. And if they don't share those values, just know the odds of you changing them later are pretty slim. So make sure they share your values. Make sure they're what you're looking for. Nobody's perfect, again, but if they're not a Christ follower, they don't have a passion for Jesus, and you do, don't bet that that's going to change. If their values don't line up with yours, then I would just steer away from that. Yeah, even if you're attracted to them, steer away from that. And so that'd be my advice.
Thank you. All right, this is going to be the last question.
The last question. I thought you had a last question.
No.
Okay,
I
you
don't
decided
think
not
so.
to do that one? We're not doing that? Okay, go ahead. Okay.
The last question, what do you have any goals for your life or your family future? Like, what is your long-term, do you have something specific that you're wanting to aim towards?
For the life and family?
Yeah.
I think.
And your family.
Yeah, I think for our boys, for Caleb and Micah, for them to be, they're very independent now. They're pretty much self-sustaining now, but for the most part, but for them to know Jesus and to have a walk with Christ themselves, and to really follow the lead of Jesus in their lives. for God to provide them with the godly women that they could marry at some point, godly wives, and for them to that have and then just to kind of with that to know their calling and what God put them on the planet for, and to do that, and that's with that, as far as financial security, all that stuff, I think it kind of comes out of those places. So not stressed about that. They can both achieve and accomplish at a pretty high level, so not too concerned there. But those would be my prayers there. Just for Sharon and I, that we can grow gracefully together, and that's been our plan for a long time. Just enjoy being together. I remember, I think I sent you a picture of it. I was somewhere, and there was this old couple. I can't remember if I was in Chicago or somewhere, but there was this old couple walking ahead of me, and I was out running or something, if I remember right. But anyway, but I stopped and I got my phone out and took a picture of them. But there was just an old couple, and they were just walking, holding hands through this park. And I sent it to Sharon. I said, "That's going to be us someday." That is the dream, that we just walk through life together and enjoy it. And part of that's doing ministry together, but it's also just enjoying being together. And so yeah, I hope that for us, and just to finish well, whatever years. I'm 59. My dad, was killed in an accident when he was 63. My mom's still doing great, up in Oklahoma, well into, getting into her 80s now, and so 81. And so yeah, I hope to have a long life, but a productive, joyful life. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I know we went a little bit over. Is there anything else that we as a church family can be praying for other than what you just said? I know that was kind of like question/prayer.
Yeah. No, I think just this next season of getting this building back up and running again is pretty important. So pray for favor there on the insurance side, the contractor side, all the different governing entities that have to do inspections and all that stuff, that we can get back in here. I know I feel like we're kind of in a holding pattern, to a certain extent, with what we're doing right now, and it's awesome. I love what God's doing, but I feel like we're kind of in a holding pattern. So I'm ready to get back over here, and so we're kind of using this time to retool and rethink and all that. But yeah, I'm ready to launch back again, and that most likely with a full all-out deal probably won't be till January, but where everything's kind of back on track, because about the time we get back in here, it's going to be holiday season, I think. And so anyway, yeah, so just pray for favor with builders and everything else, that we can get things knocked out here and get back in here, and then that God's anointing is on us for every part, and just there are a lot of new faces around Crossroads, so just make people feel welcome, get to know their stories, invite them into your circle, take them out to lunch, get away from your friends on Sunday and go talk to some of them, but yeah, really get to make sure, like one of the gentlemen told me Sunday, who's it was only his second Sunday here, but I think I said this in one of the services, that he came up to me and said, "I just feel like I'm at home here. I just feel like I'm family here." And he's only been here 2 weeks, and and that was really cool. So yeah, just go out of your way to help people feel that, and we're always going to pray for them to have an encounter with God and for the Holy Spirit anointing to be on everything that happens here, and I know He does that. But if they're turned off by nobody even said hello to me, then that's no good,
Yeah.
So keep doing those kinds of things, Crossroads, and that'd be awesome.
All right. Well, we're gonna end. Bye.
Adios.